Hey.
Hey, I'm sorry, Dean. I'm sorry they didn't have a phone number to call yet. So I was trying to drive around.
Oh, that's all right.
What's going on?
Well, see, what happened was I walked out. I was eating with my family over here at this Rio Bravo.
Yeah.
I walk out, I see the cop, turn on my camera, just normal. And,
just recording?
yeah,
That's
just,
fine.
and I wasn't even, close enough. I just, I heard her say, you need a ride home or I'm going to take you to the hospital. So I said, hey, I can give you a ride home, good Samaritan kind of thing. And, next thing I know, she says, well, you're still going to the hospital. And, I wasn't trying to be, involved more than I needed. I ain't trying to get in trouble.
Yeah.
And so I just recorded and watched it, and she kept saying, you're not under arrest. It's okay, It's like,
To you or?
To
Oh, to
him.
him. Okay.
And I said, well, he's detained, though. Don't lie to him. He was inebriated. And, and she's like, what? I'm detained. And then so she took him over here to the hospital. My mom's right here, and I rode with her over there.
Yeah.
And I was just going to, say, hey, I was willing to take him home, because I don't want nobody, especially if he didn't want to go to the hospital.
But you had no relation to him, right? I guess.
No relation,
Okay.
Stranger.
Okay, so y'all were both just basically eating or whatever, and then you saw
Yeah.
what was happening.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so I just, I walk up to the hospital, and I just say that again, hey, I offered to take him home. And
The same officer.
not even to the same officer. She already got him inside. I said that as they were walking inside.
Gotcha.
And the other officer that was assisting, he turned around and stopped, blocked the door, and I said, I'm coming in here, I'm walking in the hospital.
73. All right, 10 more. Thanks, sorry.
No, you're good. I know you got your business, but so I'm just trying to give you the whole scoop.
No, I appreciate it. Sorry.
And then so I recorded it too. I recorded the whole thing, and then I try to walk into the hospital to talk to them, talk to somebody else,
The other officer was already in, I guess, or something.
or just even the front desk person, just to tell them, hey, I got this guy a ride. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and before I could even do that, the officer started shoving me out and said I needed to leave. And I said, what did I do wrong? Skipper. And he shoved me out and told me I need to leave. And then he said, well, okay, go ahead and go in, because I told him, you just tell me to leave. And then so he let me get a little bit in, and then started doing the same thing, and
Like
told me,
inside the ER part?
and started inside the in
Where the doors or whatever?
yeah, in between
Okay.
the doors. And so and he was telling me I need to leave, and I said, well, are you acting on behalf of this hospital, telling me that I need to leave, giving me a trespass notice, right?
Okay.
And he said he didn't say nothing, and then I was like, it just kept pushing me out. And so I was like, I'm not gonna fight with you. If you want me gone, I'm gonna step back, but I'm not leaving because I don't feel legally obligated to. I'm not doing anything wrong. And
More inquiring at that time.
the security officer didn't ask me to leave, asked another security officer to ask me to leave, and so I heard that.
And I guess security ended up asking.
Yeah, I heard that, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna leave, because now it's getting into the trespassing part of everything, because I'm just asking for, and it just sucks because I felt I was attacked. He put his hands physically on me, and it wasn't like I was defiant. I wasn't trying to run around him. I wasn't trying to not talk to him. I wasn't trying to do anything.
Kind of inquisitive,
He said that he was detained. I asked what for.
Oh, the other guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I said, and he couldn't tell me what for. So therefore, not that you had to tell me as a person, okay? But I seen it. It was, he said he didn't want to be detained. I offered a ride home. He had other ways than to go to the hospital over whatever it was.
So I guess the first concern was whether or not he should have gone to the hospital, right?
Yeah,
Then the other thing, the main issue is what occurred at the hospital.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't have been called nothing over him going to the hospital. That's officer discretion in my eyes. But at the same time, I just came to offer the same thing, you know, and I know if I was in that situation where, you know, threatened to go to the hospital or find a ride and I didn't have a ride, you know, this guy offered, okay, you know, that's better than going to the hospital.
Never talked to you any about it, or what happened? The female officer gets
yeah, she told me that he was going to the hospital. That's all, you know. Whenever I walked out and you know, before I was offered myself any help, I heard her say, if you don't have a ride, you're going to the hospital. So that's when I offered a ride. That's all I heard. That's when I, you know, stepped out and said something, you know. And she was she said, you're going to be, you know, legally obligated to get him home. And I said, and I said, you know, where do you live? That's all, you know, that's where I was at. Where do you live? I'll take you home. And she said, you know, at that point, she didn't want to hear us talking about that stuff, or, you know, it wasn't enough a confirmation that I was going to take him home or something. Okay. I don't know exactly what in her eyes, you know, but I was just trying to inquire more where he lived. I was probably going to still take him, but I can't take him if I ain't going to just put him in my car and ride him around town.
No, I get your concern there. Well, I guess for the first part to address both, the hospital stuff's really concerning to me. I agree with you there.
Yes.
I don't know how that, and I'd like to see what you got.
I will. I'll let you.
But as far as the stuff that happened over here, I guess basically what he was transported for, and obviously I haven't seen any of their cameras. I didn't even talk to her really about what went down over here. But just from what you're saying, so he was transported for a Marchman Act. Basically, how it works in Florida is anytime that you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol, it's not an arrest. You're detained, so you're right in the essence that you're detained. But there are a lot of times people like to think that they're, because we're putting them in our car or handcuffing them, they're arrested.
Yeah.
So that's where it's really a play on words, but
it is.
But in the essence of, so I understand what you're getting at there. But he's not going to jail. He wasn't arrested. So I think that's what she was meaning by that.
Yeah, that's what she was meaning.
But in regards to what our normal policy is on it, and that's why I was asking if you knew him or not. One, I appreciate you coming forward and trying to help. I do appreciate that.
I mean,
and I wish she would have kind of explained it better to you. Is what I'm getting at. So I think that was where the miscommunication occurred there.
And that might have been where she was trying to say you're legally obligated at this point.
Well, and what she should end up doing is if you didn't, it's kind of like I just asked you, did you know him or whatever. Where it comes back to us, our legal obligation on that, or liability standpoint, is that we can't just, since he doesn't know you and you're not in relation to him, I can't just turn him over to you because, I mean, you seem nice, but
he's
God
enumerated.
God forbid something happened to him, and we go, hey, well, who'd you just turn this guy over to? And we're like, oh, we don't know. He doesn't really know me.
Because I wouldn't have identified, you know, just for giving myself
over. I wish you would explain that to you a little better. But that's the reason why she can't basically just turn him over to you.
But at the same time, I'm just talking with you now, right?
Yeah, you're good.
At the same time, I'm curious, all right? Stranger, you ask me for a ride and I give you a ride. You know what I mean? Like, I understand you have him under custody, so.
If we weren't involved, that'd be a different story. Like, you know, if you and me just ran on the side and you're like, I'm like, hey man, can you give me a ride? And you said, sure.
Yeah.
So the problem is we got a call up here, I guess, that the establishment called us, I don't know who inside, but somebody, an employee inside, said he fell over from what I read in the call.
No, I'm sure that
he fell over, he bumped his head, and that they were concerned about him. And then I guess when the officer arrived, he was on the ground, is what it said in the notes of the call.
Wow.
So I haven't talked to her yet about it.
Yeah.
But that's the reason why we end up getting involved.
Yeah. And
then once we get involved, we unfortunately have to, because of the liability on it, is the safest thing is to take him to the hospital and just
and say, he can leave the hospital if he chooses.
And if they end up doing that. So, but
if I told you I didn't want to go and I got a ride, you know what I mean?
By law, basically, it's called an involuntary examination. So by law, if you're impaired on drugs or alcohol and you're that much so to where you're falling over and stuff,
that's whenever it's officer discretion.
We have to legally have somebody that's like a family member or something to take care of you. Because if not, it falls back on us. So that's where I was like, I think there was a miscommunication on her end. She should have communicated it better with you. But for what she did on that it's correct in the essence that she shouldn't have just turned him over to you necessarily. But I appreciate you. But not most people
will know. But you can admit that she could have legally turned him over to me.
No, she can't.
She legally could have. No, she legally could have.
She can't. No, sir.
Not as I wasn't gonna be legally.
You're not a
person.
Relative. Yeah, that's the problem. If you were a relative or something, or you lived with the guy or something, and we could confirm that, then absolutely, if you wanted to take him home. But the problem is we don't have anybody that's.
How would that mean that? How would that relative have any legal obligation either? That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm a cousin of the dude. He has no more legal obligation than a stranger to take this guy home or to care for him.
Because they're a family member, we can meet that
So
criteria.
then that's just the requirement of the discretion, right?
I want to say that.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I just wondering,
So that's why, because it opens it up to a liability on us if we're just turning them over to someone they don't know.
Some random person. Yeah.
So, although you seem quite nice,
it would be different if you was saying, no, I don't want to go with this guy, and they were like, no, you're still gonna go with him.
It's no different because of his impairment.
Case by case. Yeah.
So, as far as the hospital
you want to
stuff,
see
though,
the other
yeah,
stuff?
what's up with that? I'd like to see that.
Okay.
Because that's concerning to me.